Mysterious objects seen flying inside this volcano in Mexico. The Popocatépetl is an active stratovolcano that can be found in Mexico, and its name translates to Smoky Mountain. Once known primarily for its eruptions and geological significance, it has become the focus of countless reports describing strange objects and unexplained lights seen in its vicinity. What has puzzled many is the frequency and consistency with which these sightings occur, especially when captured by public webcams that monitor the volcano 24 hours a day. Observers have often explained away the phenomena as nothing more than ash or natural debris, yet others argue that what is being captured goes far beyond this. Glowing orbs and odd-shaped flying objects have frequently been seen not only hovering near the volcano, but reportedly flying directly into and out of it. Some of these events appear to defy explanation. Glowing lights that move in calculated, intelligent patterns, with speeds and maneuvers not consistent with anything known to be natural. One of the most discussed anomalies involves what some have mistaken for meteors. On certain nights, cameras have recorded what appears to be several meteor-like objects entering the volcano in rapid succession. Critics have pointed out that such repeated meteor strikes, all targeting the same geographical point in one night, stretch the limits of statistical probability. Adding to the mystery, the glowing objects often do not resemble meteors at all. Rather than burning out quickly or following the traditional arc of a falling space rock, they instead move deliberately, occasionally appearing to stop mid-air or change direction, both of which are traits inconsistent with falling debris. This has caused a wave of speculation across various online communities and forums. Amateur researchers have labeled this volcano a hotspot for unexplained aerial phenomena. Reports suggest that sightings occur several times a year, and those are just the ones that are recorded on camera. Residents living near the area have added their own accounts, claiming to have witnessed glowing lights hovering above the crater, often describing them as if they are somehow inspecting or interacting with the volcano itself. One of the most frequently seen types of objects is the glowing orb, often spherical in shape and emitting its own light. These orbs are among the most commonly reported unidentified objects globally, and they tend to appear as blurry or glowing spots on camera, making them difficult to study in detail. What stands out, however, is that these glowing orbs seem to be particularly concentrated around this one volcano, much more so than any other known volcanic location on the planet. This has led some to suggest that the orbs may be drawn to something specific within the volcano, whether natural, energetic, or perhaps something still unknown to science. The debate about why this location attracts so much unexplained activity remains ongoing. Some suggest geological energy could be responsible, theorizing that intense magnetic or seismic activity could somehow interact with these objects. Others lean toward more speculative ideas, including the possibility that these objects are conducting surveillance or research of their own. Regardless of the theory, the consistency and clarity of the sightings have made this location one of the most active and puzzling sites of unexplained aerial activity anywhere in the world. As long as these strange lights continue to appear, and as long as the webcams continue capturing them, this volcano will remain a place of fascination for those who believe that there may be more to our skies, and perhaps even our planet, than meets the eye. A mysterious apparition seen during live TV. While reporting live on the morning news, journalist Sam Hesler was covering a story from Greenridge Cemetery, a historic burial ground located in Saratoga County. The segment focused on the cemetery's twilight tours, which are known for their spooky ambience and storytelling. As the segment aired, everything appeared to be running smoothly, with Sam standing in front of a quiet section of the cemetery, describing the tour experience to early morning viewers. However, not long after the broadcast ended, a viewer reached out to Sam with a startling observation. The individual claimed that during the live segment, something unusual had appeared behind her, something that did not seem to be a part of the natural surroundings. Curious and slightly unnerved, Sam reviewed the footage. What she and many others saw has since become the center of a local mystery. In the background, to the left of where Sam had been standing, a faint, misty figure appeared to rise near one of the headstones. The shape was translucent and seemed to take on a human-like form before quickly dissipating. Those who viewed the footage began to suggest that what was seen was not a trick of light or camera glitch, but a ghostly apparition. The timing and location of the appearance, within a cemetery already associated with eerie stories, only added fuel to the speculation. The mystery of the bird surveillance drones. A curious incident in Somalia recently captured the attention of both local residents and online observers when a strange object was discovered on the ground near a rural area. What appeared at first glance to be an injured or fallen bird was, upon closer inspection, revealed to be a crashed drone, one that had been carefully crafted to resemble a bird. The unusual sighting quickly sparked speculation and concern, as this was not the kind of drone typically seen on the market or in civilian settings. The object, found on the 1st of May, displayed features designed to mimic a real bird. It was painted entirely black, with artificial wings on either side. The wings were even programmed to flap during flight, adding to the illusion. However, these wings were only aesthetic. The drone's actual movement through the air was powered by small propellers, cleverly concealed to avoid detection. It was this blend of bird-like appearance and mechanical flight technology that gave the drone a stealthy, camouflaged presence in the sky. Upon further inspection of the fallen drone, locals began to form a theory about its purpose and origin. Many believe that it was created and deployed by the Somali National Intelligence and Security Agency. The leading assumption is that the device was intended for covert surveillance. Disguising a drone as a bird would allow it to fly over areas without raising suspicion. In regions where real birds are a common sight, such a device could easily go unnoticed, unless something, as in this case, caused it to malfunction and crash. Why a bird-like drone was used instead of a more conventional surveillance device remains unclear. The reasons could range from avoiding detection during high-stakes operations to gathering intelligence in areas where traditional surveillance would be too obvious. As for what caused the crash, that too is a mystery. It could have been a technical fault, interference, or even weather-related. No definitive cause has been identified. What adds to the intrigue is the drone's unique design. Attempts to compare it to commercially available bird drones have not yielded any matches. While there are hobbyist and novelty drones made to resemble birds, none of them match the specifications or complexity of the drone found in Somalia. The lack of an identifiable manufacturer has led many to believe that the device was custom-built, possibly by a military or intelligence agency. This strange event raises more questions than answers. Was the drone monitoring a specific target? Was it part of a larger operation? Or could there be more of these bird-like drones flying undetected in other regions? The lack of official acknowledgement or explanation has only deepened the mystery surrounding the incident. While the exact mission or creator of the drone remains unknown, its discovery serves as a reminder of how surveillance technology continues to evolve. In an age where drones can be made to look like birds, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between the natural and the artificial. For now, the people of Somalia, and observers around the world, are left to wonder what else might be watching from above, hidden in plain sight. The mysterious encounter involving Yang Liwei. Yang Liwei holds the distinguished title of being the first person sent into space by China. His historic journey aboard the Shenzhou 5 spacecraft marked a significant milestone on the 15th of October in the year 2003, as China became the third independent nation to successfully send a human into space. While the mission was celebrated as a technological and political achievement, it also carried with it an unexplained mystery that has puzzled scientists and space enthusiasts ever since. During his time in orbit, Yang Liwei reported hearing a strange and unsettling noise. He described it as a knocking sound, something that resembled someone tapping on the body of the spacecraft. What made the incident particularly perplexing was that the sound did not appear to come from either outside or inside the cabin. Yang looked through the spacecraft's viewing portal in hopes of seeing something that might explain the odd knocking, but he found nothing unusual. The mystery of the sound lingered with him even after his safe return to Earth. Back on the ground, Yang collaborated with leading scientists in an attempt to solve the riddle. Experts from various fields examined the incident in depth. One theory, presented by Professor Goh Che-hyang of the National University of Singapore, suggested that the noise may have been the result of something physical hitting the spacecraft, such as a piece of floating space debris. However, there was no definitive evidence to support this idea. Another expert, Wei Seng So, offered a different explanation. He proposed that the knocking could have been caused by the natural expansion and contraction of the spacecraft's materials due to the extreme temperature changes in orbit. As the external surface of the spacecraft shifts between intense heat and extreme cold, it may produce creaking or knocking sounds. Still, no one could say with certainty what the true cause of the noise was. Adding another layer to the mystery, similar knocking sounds were reported during subsequent Chinese space missions, including those in 2005 and 2008. These recurring events suggest that the phenomenon might be related to the structural or mechanical aspects of Chinese spacecraft. Despite this, no pattern has been definitively confirmed, and the mystery remains open. While these sounds have not led to any known malfunctions or safety concerns, they continue to be a source of fascination and speculation. Many people believe that space should be utterly silent, given the lack of air or water particles through which sound can travel. Yet, stories from astronauts over the years reveal that hearing sounds in space is not as rare as commonly assumed. One famous example occurred during the Apollo mission in the year 1969. During a test flight around the Moon, astronauts heard a bizarre audio transmission that they later described as space music. The recording, which remained classified for decades, was eventually made public and has added to the curiosity surrounding strange audio phenomena in space. Some speculate that the sounds heard by Yang Liwei may be the result of natural spacecraft behavior or internal environmental changes. Others, however, allow room for more mysterious interpretations. There are those who wonder whether the knocking sounds might hint at forces beyond current human understanding, perhaps even attempts at communication by unknown entities. These ideas, though speculative, reflect the awe and wonder that space continues to inspire. Yang, who later became a major general in China's Air Force, has never heard anything like the knocking sounds again in all his years of service. Whether it was a purely mechanical occurrence or something more mysterious, the experience remains a standout moment from his pioneering mission. The mystery of the Shenzhou 5 knocking continues to invite curiosity, and it may be many years before the true cause is ever fully understood. The mystery of Dr. Story Musgrave. Dr. Franklin Story Musgrave, known to most simply as Story Musgrave, has long been admired for his intellect, resilience, and unparalleled accomplishments. Born in the year 1935 in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, Musgrave overcame a difficult and turbulent childhood. He was one of 7 children, raised in what he later described as a severely dysfunctional environment. Despite these challenges, Musgrave rose to become not only a respected physician and engineer, but also one of NASA's most accomplished astronauts. His journey through academia was as extraordinary as his professional career. Musgrave holds 6 academic degrees, spanning mathematics, operations analysis, computer programming, literature, physiology, and biophysics. This extensive education made him the most formally educated astronaut in the world. He joined NASA in the year 1967 and went on to fly on 6 space flights, becoming only the 2nd astronaut to achieve such a feat. One of the more curious and lesser-known aspects of Musgrave's storied career involves a series of unusual sightings during his time in space. On at least 2 separate missions, Musgrave reported witnessing a bizarre, snake-like object outside his spacecraft. According to his accounts, the object appeared to be between 6 and 8 feet long, with a rubbery texture that seemed to ripple as it floated nearby. Its movement gave the impression that it was swimming through space, despite the vacuum surrounding it. He speculated that its apparent motion could have been influenced by the velocity of the spacecraft, making it look as though it was undulating in an elegant gliding ballet. Musgrave theorized that this object could have been an uncritical rubber seal or component that had detached from the shuttle or another part of the space infrastructure. However, he never fully dismissed the possibility that it could have been something far less mundane. What fascinated many was his openness to other explanations, particularly those that ventured beyond conventional science. Musgrave believed deeply in the possibility of life beyond Earth, and his time in space only reinforced this belief. In interviews following his retirement from space missions, Musgrave often expressed the sense of wonder he felt looking out into the cosmos. He described the skies as being filled with unknowns, suggesting that space is teeming with life, even if we have yet to understand or encounter it directly. He once stated that the more time one spends in space, the more one comes to feel certain that other life forms exist elsewhere in the universe. Musgrave believed that once humanity fully accepts this idea, our understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos will change dramatically. Now in his late 80s, Musgrave continues to inspire with his reflections on space, science, and the unknown. Although he may never receive a definitive explanation for the strange serpentine shapes he observed during his missions, his testimony carries significant weight due to his experience and intellect. His story offers a unique glimpse into the mysteries that surround space travel and the encounters that even seasoned astronauts cannot easily explain. As of right now, Musgrave's openness to the unknown and his willingness to explore beyond the boundaries of conventional thought continue to encourage others to consider that our universe might be far more populated and mysterious than we currently understand. A hiker finds hundreds of trees flattened overnight in a quiet woodland in England. In a quiet woodland near Medan in Devon, UK, a man named Ben Landricum had an experience that left him shaken, confused, and curious. On an otherwise ordinary day, while walking his dog through the woods, Landricum stumbled upon something strange and unnerving, a long column of flattened trees stretching across the woodland floor. The scene was unnatural, as if a great force had passed through the forest, knocking down everything in its path. Instinctively disturbed by what he saw, Landricum rushed back to his campervan with his dog, leaving behind a mystery that would soon spark rumours and theories suggesting that an unidentified flying object had crashed in the area. Ben Landricum was an experienced outdoorsman who frequently explored the woods around Medan with his loyal dog. However, this particular walk in the Devon woods would be unlike any he had experienced before. On this day, while following a familiar trail, he noticed something odd in the distance. A long, straight line of trees had been snapped and flattened as if hit by an unseen force. The devastation was concentrated in a narrow path, cutting through the forest like a scar. The fallen trees were not toppled randomly, as they might have been in a natural event like a storm or strong wind. Instead, they appeared to be pressed down in a uniform direction, as though something large and heavy had crashed through the woods. Despite the area being prone to storms, this scene was unlike anything Landricum had ever seen in the region. Startled by the sight, he immediately felt a sense of unease. He wasn't sure what had caused the destruction, but the thought of lingering in such an unusual area didn't sit well with him. Word of Landricum's discovery quickly spread among locals and online communities, particularly those interested in paranormal phenomena. The strange nature of the flattened trees, combined with the lack of a clear explanation, led to widespread speculation. One of the most popular theories to emerge was that an unidentified flying object had crashed in the woodland, creating the path of destruction. Devon, like many other rural areas, has a history of UFO sightings and unexplained phenomena. The isolated forests, expansive skies, and quiet atmosphere have long made the region a hotspot for mysterious occurrences. As news of the discovery spread, enthusiasts and theorists began piecing together stories of other strange events in the area. Some locals reported hearing unusual noises or seeing strange lights in the sky on the night before Landricum found the column of flattened trees, further fueling the idea that a UFO might have crashed or passed through the area. These suggestions weren't entirely far-fetched. There have been numerous cases globally where mysterious flattened trees or scorched earth have been linked to alleged UFO sightings. In the case of Medan, the strange destruction of trees bore some similarities to other reports of unexplained crashes, leading many to believe that something unusual, whether extraterrestrial or not, had occurred in this quiet Devonshire woodland. Theories of a UFO crash persisted, and several enthusiasts visited the site to search for evidence. Some claim to have found signs of radiation or magnetic anomalies in the area, though these findings were never scientifically verified. Others speculated that the crash site might have been quickly covered up, with officials eager to dismiss the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement. For those who believe in the UFO phenomena, the idea that a UFO might have crashed in the Devonshire woods is both exciting and chilling. While the truth behind the mysterious column of flattened trees remains elusive, one thing is certain. The experience has left a lasting impression on Ben Landricum and those who have followed his story. Whether the result of a freak weather event, an unknown terrestrial force, or something far stranger, the woodland near Medan now holds a new sense of intrigue, drawing curious minds to uncover the secrets hidden within its trees. The green-clawed beast incident. A mysterious creature referred to as the green-clawed beast is purported to inhabit the Ohio River. The event occurred on August 21, 1955 in Evansville, Indiana. Mrs. Johnson was swimming when the alarming incident transpired. She asserted that a hairy, clawed hand had seized her around the knee. On the shore, her acquaintance observed in horror as Mrs. Johnson flailed in the water. She fought fervently to free herself from the creature's hold. She lunged for an inner tube to escape the beast and ultimately reached the shore. Mrs. Johnson sustained numerous injuries to her leg, which thereafter began to throb and swell. Certain stories indicate that she exhibited an unusual green mark on her skin resembling a palm, which remained impervious to removal for several days following the incident. Subsequently, she expressed gratitude that it was she who was in the water rather than her 13-year-old son. She expressed concern that her son might not have escaped from the formidable creature. She recounted her narrative publicly solely to save others from undergoing a similar experience. The mystery of the faceless figure of Dead Man's Curve. Dead Man's Curve, a notoriously dangerous stretch of road in Ohio, has been a source of fear, tragedy, and mystery for decades. Though the road was redesigned and reconstructed in 1969 to improve safety, its reputation as a perilous place remains, largely due to the accident that occurred just a month after the road's reopening and the dark legend that followed. On October 19, 1969, 5 teenagers were killed when their 1968 Chevy Impala was struck by another vehicle traveling at over 100 miles per hour. The sole survivor of the crash, Rick, lived to tell a chilling story, one that still haunts the region to this day. He claims to have encountered a faceless figure on multiple occasions, a dark spirit said to haunt the site of the fatal accident. For years, Dead Man's Curve had been a source of fear and frustration for drivers in the area. This sharp bend in the road had been responsible for numerous crashes, many of them fatal, earning its grim nickname. The accident shocked the local community, and once again, Dead Man's Curve seemed to live up to its deadly reputation, even though the curve itself had been straightened. The only survivor was a man named Rick, who had been in the back seat of the Impala at the time of the crash. Although he suffered severe injuries, Rick managed to survive. However, his life was forever altered, not just by the physical and emotional trauma of the accident, but by the chilling experiences he would come to endure in the years that followed. Following the accident, reports of strange occurrences began to emerge from the site of the crash. Drivers passing through the area late at night claimed to see a mysterious figure standing near the side of the road. The figure, described as a man wearing dark, tattered clothing, appeared to be hitchhiking, but something about him was deeply unsettling. Those who saw him noted that he had no face. His features were either completely obscured or simply missing, as if a dark, blank void had replaced what should have been a human visage. The faceless figure became a local legend, with many speculating that it was the spirit of one of the victims of the crash, doomed to wander the site of the tragedy for eternity. Some suggested that the figure might be the embodiment of the dangerous road itself, a spirit created by the long history of accidents associated with Dead Man's Curve. Regardless of the theory, one thing was clear. The intersection had not lost its aura of danger, and the faceless hitchhiker became a feared and infamous presence on that stretch of road. For Rick, the lone survivor of the 1969 crash, the faceless figure became more than just a local legend. It was a terrifying reality. Over the years, Rick has claimed to have seen the faceless hitchhiker 5 times, each encounter leaving him shaken and disturbed. His first sighting occurred not long after the accident, as he was driving through the area late one night. He described seeing the dark figure standing on the shoulder of the road, his arm outstretched as if asking for a ride. At first, Rick didn't notice anything unusual about the figure, but as he got closer, he realized the man had no face. Overwhelmed with fear, he sped away, but the image stayed with him for days. The second encounter occurred a few years later, under similar circumstances. Rick was once again driving near the site of the crash when he saw the same faceless figure. By the time of his 5th encounter, Rick could no longer dismiss the figure as a trick of the mind or a product of his trauma. He was convinced that the faceless hitchhiker was somehow tied to the tragedy of the crash and perhaps even to the deaths of his friends. Rick speculated that the spirit might be one of the teenagers, lost and searching for peace, or even a dark force that fed off the grief and fear surrounding Dead Man's Curve. To this day, the legend of the faceless figure at Dead Man's Curve persists, with many drivers claiming to have seen the mysterious hitchhiker. While skeptics dismiss the sightings as figments of imagination or optical illusions caused by the eerie atmosphere of the location, others believe that the spirit is real, a lingering presence tied to the tragic events of October 19, 1969. Wildfires raging through Texas necessitated the temporary evacuation of the primary nuclear weapons site in the United States due to the influence of powerful winds, arid vegetation, and unusually high temperatures that fueled the inferno. This catastrophic event highlighted the severity of the situation and the critical measures undertaken to safeguard the area. The Pantex plant, crucial for assembling and disassembling America's nuclear weapons, ceased its activities due to the imminent threat posed by the Windy Deuce fire rapidly approaching its location in Potter County. This facility plays a pivotal role in managing the nation's nuclear arsenal. During a press briefing, Leif Pendergraft, the spokesperson for the National Nuclear Security Administration's production office at Pantex, stated that as a precautionary measure, they have safely removed all non-essential personnel from the site. Despite the presence of a fully equipped fire department, specifically trained to handle such situations, stationed on-site and vigilant, prepared to respond promptly in the event of any actual emergency at the plant premises. This ensures that adequate measures are in place to address any unforeseen incidents effectively, reassuring the safety and security of the facility and its occupants. As of right now, people on Facebook have been posting photographs of strange formations and charred marks in the ground that could have caused the wildfires. One individual highlighted that their father, who works for the police force, stated that these fires are affecting the emergency powers, National Guard, and various other resources. Others pointed out that the timing is strange and stated that wildfire season doesn't usually happen this early, which has caused some people to put forward some interesting theories. Although this is just an idea, one user pointed out that many of these wildfires seem to start out of nowhere and questioned why this is. Pantex, a prominent facility in nuclear weapons assembly and disassembly, is strategically located approximately 17 miles or 27 kilometers to the northeast of Amarillo, Texas. Since 1975, it has served as the primary facility in the United States for the assembly and disassembly of atomic weapons. Over the years, this facility has played a crucial role in the maintenance and handling of the country's nuclear arsenal. The Windy Deuce wildfire experienced a significant growth spurt during the afternoon of February 28th, expanding its reach to cover a vast area of 90,000 acres, while containment efforts stood at 25% effectiveness. Amidst the ongoing crisis, numerous additional wildfires, with several of them being significantly larger in scale, pose imminent threats to the Texas Panhandle region. Taking swift action, Governor Greg Abbott, a member of the government, has officially declared a state of disaster encompassing 60 counties spread throughout Texas. The Smokehouse Creek Fire, the most extensive wildfire currently raging, has ravaged an immense expanse of 850,000 acres by February 28th, as reported by the Texas Forest Service. Surpassing the state of Rhode Island in size, this wildfire has grown exponentially, doubling in size just within a day. To put this into perspective, it is now nearly 20 times larger than the area of Washington, D.C. This intensive wildfire has not only engulfed vast swathes of land, but has also posed significant challenges for containment efforts and firefighting operations. At a mere 3% containment level, the ongoing wildfire has the potential to exceed the size of the largest fire ever recorded in the state, which covered slightly over 900,000 acres, possibly by the culmination of activities on Wednesday. The exact trigger for the fire that engulfed the thinly populated regions nestled amid expansive grasslands remains undisclosed by officials. Texas residents are advised by Mr. Abbott to restrict any activities that might generate sparks and to exercise care to ensure the safety of their family members. This recommendation is particularly crucial to prevent accidents and protect loved ones from harm. In the latest updates, the Grapevine Creek fire, which is relatively smaller in size, has reached a containment level of 60%, as per the report released on Wednesday. Similarly, the containment level of the Magenta fire stands at 40%, indicating gradual progress in managing the situation. Additionally, the 687 Rima fire, situated just to the south of the Smokehouse Creek fire, has achieved a containment rate of 10%. According to the National Weather Service, the weather conditions have shown significant improvement compared to earlier in the week. The forecast for Wednesday indicates that the state will experience lower temperatures and gentle winds, factors that are expected to contribute to restricting the expansion of the 5 ongoing fires in the Panhandle region. This alteration in weather patterns is crucial as it offers a glimmer of hope in controlling the wildfire situation. Early this week, the National Weather Service released red flag warnings and fire danger alerts for numerous states spanning the central region of the country. This action was prompted by the convergence of strong winds exceeding 40 miles per hour, elevated temperatures, reduced humidity levels, and the presence of dry winter foliage, creating a perfect storm for potential wildfire outbreaks. These warnings were specifically targeted at ensuring public safety and vigilance in light of the heightened risk posed by the prevailing weather conditions in the specified areas. The Smokehouse Creek fire also spread to Oklahoma late Tuesday, causing evacuations and destruction in the towns of Gage and Shattuck. In response to escalating threats, evacuation directives were dispatched encompassing various counties in Texas during the recent events. The county and city authorities took to broadcasting on the social media platform Facebook to engage with the populace fraught with anxiety, addressing their inquiries in real time, urging residents to activate the emergency alerts on their mobile devices and remain poised for an immediate evacuation. Officials painted a vivid picture of the perilous situation. Some thoroughfares were depicted as engulfed in flames on both sides, painting a harrowing picture while acknowledging the strain on resources being pushed to their limits in managing the crisis. During a recent incident in Fritch, a small town, a fire outbreak compelled certain residents to evacuate their homes as the flames leaped across a highway. On Wednesday morning, the Hutchinson County Office of Emergency Management issued a statement highlighting a distressing situation where numerous residences have been devastated, with some engulfed in flames, particularly in the area of Fritch. Texas State Senator Kevin Sparks announced that a mandatory evacuation order had been declared for Canadian, a community of approximately 2,000 residents situated around 100 miles northeast of Amarillo. Subsequently, on the same day, the Hemphill County Sheriff's Office advised the remaining population of Canadians to take refuge either at their homes or relocate to the high school gym due to the closure of various roads in the area. The move was prompted by an escalation of the situation, necessitating immediate action to ensure the safety and well-being of the local residents and to mitigate potential risks associated with the prevailing conditions in the region. In addition to the evacuations that took place in Canada, further evacuations were also mandated in the vicinity of Miami. Furthermore, on Wednesday, schools in both Canadian and Miami declared closures as a precautionary measure. Moving east from Canadian, authorities in the fire-affected region of Durham, Oklahoma, advised residents to evacuate due to the escalating fire threat.
Iwona Wieczorek. It was the 17th of July 2010 in Spot, Poland. In the early morning light, 19-year-old Iwona Wieczorek makes a final call to her friend Adria. Earlier that night, the girls were out celebrating their completion of high school, attending a party not far from their home. Adria convinced Iwona to leave and to continue their partying at a nearby nightclub, Dream Club. Not long after midnight, they arrived at the club, along with 3 of Adria's male friends, Paul, Adrian and Mark. After an argument with the men, Iwona stormed out, determined to walk the almost 4 miles home. Texts from her phone indicate she was angry her friend did not follow her out of the club after the argument. There were several calls made to Adria. The last one occurred at around 4 a.m, in which Adria had apologized for the incident at the club. Iwona confessed she wasn't in a state to be seen at home, still drunk from all the partying. Adria informed Ivona she would leave her keys outside of her apartment if she wanted to come to stay with her. CCTV easily tracked Ivona's path, having been seen on several different cameras. Barefoot and alone, she headed towards the neighborhood that she and Adria lived in. Needless to say, Ivona never arrived. Later that day, after awakening and finding her keys where she had left them, Adria contacted Ivona's family to check that she had made it home. Although she was reported missing, authorities claimed Ivona was capable enough to make it home and could have stayed at another friend's house. It was a week before the disappearance of Ivona was taken seriously. During the last few seconds of the video captured of Ivona, a man was seen walking behind her. He was possibly the last known person to see her alive. Even though his picture and sketches were widely circulated, no one ever stepped forward claiming to be the man. And he was never identified. In 2014, Adria and one of the men from the club were interviewed regarding the disappearance. Although both of them corroborated the time Ivona left the club, neither of them could maintain eye contact with the camera. And though they seemed to remember the time of her leaving, not one of them could remember what the argument was about. This strange behavior has led some to believe that perhaps Adria and the men know more about her disappearance than they were telling. In Poland, Ivona's disappearance has not faded away. Some 12,000 pages on a forum remain active searching for Ivona, sharing pictures of her and asking for someone to step forward. Some fear she has been sold into human trafficking. Even with hundreds of people from the area interviewed, no sign of Ivona has ever turned up.
Did our DNA come from space rocks? The building blocks of our DNA have been discovered in space rocks, begging the question, did our DNA come from space rocks? It's possible that cosmic impacts brought the ingredients needed to create life on Earth. DNA is made of 4 vital ingredients: nucleobases named adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. For years, scientists wondered if meteorites could have brought these ingredients to Earth. However, until now, only adenine and guanine had been detected. Nucleobases come in 2 forms, called purines and pyrimidines. For a long time, only purines were seen in meteorites, and pyrimidines seemed to be missing in action. The main difference between the two is that purines are made from a hexagonal molecule fused with a pentagonal one, while pyrimidines are smaller and are made from just the hexagonal molecule. Scientists have now been able to find all the purines and pyrimidines that are in DNA and RNA in the meteorites that arrived on Earth. According to the astrochemist who led the study, Yasuhiro Oba, the presence of the 5 primary nucleobases in meteorites may have a contribution to the emergence of genetic functions before the onset of life on the early Earth. The methods used in this study to detect the nucleobases demonstrate the incredible scientific advancements that have been made in recent years. Researchers used techniques that were originally designed for genetic and pharmaceutical research, that are able to detect nucleobases down to the range of parts per trillion. The techniques used were at least 10 to 100 times greater in sensitivity than previous techniques to detect pyrimidines in meteorites. The samples analysed in this study were from 3 carbon-rich meteorites that had been previously suspected of having the capability to host chemical reactions that created nucleobases: Murchison, Murray, and Tagish Lake meteorites. Although it's still unknown why purines were much more abundant in the meteorites than pyrimidines, one clue could be that purines contain a pentagonal ring called imidazole, while pyrimidines do not. Whatever the reason for this discrepancy, one thing is for certain: this study could be a breakthrough in understanding how life formed on Earth. NASA can't explain strange spiral in space. In 2006, scientists finally uncovered the true nature of star AFGL 3068, a first-of-its-kind spiral object 3,000 light-years away in the constellation Pegasus. Before this discovery, scientists knew the star existed, but the object was too faint for scientists to determine exactly what the spot was.
Only after a 33-minute-long exposure with the ultra-sensitive advanced camera for surveys on the Hubble Space Telescope did scientists begin to really see the spirals come into view. Scientists found that the entity consisted of large, perfectly placed coils of dust floating out in the universe. Before AFGL 3068, the only spirals found in space were known as spiral galaxies. This star is nothing like a spiral galaxy. First of all, it is not a galaxy at all. Instead, it is made up of a binary star system that includes two stars orbiting around each other. The first star is a red giant carbon star, and the second is a blue-white star that exists 103 astronomical units away from the red giant. 103 astronomical units are approximately 2 times the distance between the Sun and Pluto. Since the two stars are so far from one another, they take approximately 800 years to orbit around each other. So, how are the spirals created? In the most basic sense, the red giant releases carbon material. This material then combines to form larger molecules, which create fine black dust. This dust covers the red giant and blocks all or most of its light. The blue-white star's gravitational pull tugs the dust toward itself and away from the red giant, but most of the dust ends up escaping into space during the process. As the two binary stars circle each other, the black dust escapes outward to form a spiral. After determining how the spirals were created, scientists wondered how the system was being illuminated. The dust being dispelled is dark and has no illumination qualities of its own, yet it could still be seen. The star could not have illuminated the spirals because it was also covered in the black dust, so scientists determined that the spirals were being illuminated by our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Interestingly, this is the only celestial body that is not illuminated by sunlight, starlight, or fluorescence that has been photographed. While these phenomena might occur similarly in other systems, they were not officially discovered before AFGL 3068. This is because these phenomena can be difficult to find. First, the red giant is consistently losing significant amounts of mass in the form of black dust. That level of mass loss can only be temporary, and scientists must be in the right place at the right time. Second, the giant would have to be part of a binary system orbiting around another star big enough to have a large enough gravitational pull to draw in the black dust. This fantastic new discovery could help scientists and astronomers solve the many mysteries in other systems that were unsolvable before the discovery on AFGL 3068. Mars is humming. The InSight rover landed on Mars in November 2018, landing near the equator of the red planet. NASA's robot has been measuring the planet's seismic activity and conducting tests on its geographic qualities. Its mission is to understand and learn about the geology of rocky planets to observe their evolution and gain some more understanding about Earth's history and potential future. Scientists cannot get enough data on rocky planets just from Earth. They need to gather information from others. InSight landed in the Elysium Planitia, a small crater located on a volcanic plain. This location is often caught in wind and dust storms. The data it has gathered so far suggests that the seismic activity and magnetic field on Mars are much stronger than the researchers estimated, about 10 times more. While collecting data, the rover recorded a strange humming sound that researchers and experts have not been able to concretely identify the cause of. They have their speculations, though, and suggest it is caused by both seismic movement below the surface as well as the wind above it. When combined together, these two forces create a strange sound. The hum actually cannot be heard by humans. It falls outside our frequency range but gets picked up on readings by the robot and its machines. So any future human visitors will not be able to hear Mars humming. The researchers are excited at finding so many similarities between Mars and Earth. The infrasound, sound we can't hear, and the atmospheric turbulence are encouraging to their studies on finding out Mars's history and seeing what its timeline looks like compared to ours. Interestingly enough, Earth also has a faint infrasound humming to it. There have been reports of a hum that have been a hot debate for many years, even outside the astronomy community. Scientists can't really explain it, but many people try to blame it for certain diseases and health issues. There have been many locations across Earth that have complained of some sort of noise pollution and mysterious humming sounds. Now, InSight has identified a similar one on Mars. The robot was using a seismometer to measure the quakes underneath the planet. Since its first reading, it has measured over 400 quakes. It even managed to find fault lines on Mars, which confirms the constant seismic activity found. A few of the quakes have registered at 3 to 4 magnitudes, but most of them were so small that the machines and scientists were unable to detect their origin. Researchers also found that there are more quakes on Mars when the planet gets cold. When it cools down, it contracts, which forces the brittle layers near the surface to break in a way to accommodate their positioning. This breaking is causing stress on the surface that results in quakes. There are still many mysteries that the InSight researchers are excited about delving into, like how they recorded some type of activity at Mars's depth. They believe there might even be hot magma still at its core. They will continue to measure the activity and gather as much knowledge about Mars's geological history as possible.
In Norway, a dedicated team of researchers is currently engaged in an extensive exploration of a frozen lake where an unidentified flying object reportedly collided 77 years ago. This intriguing investigation, captured in a detailed video, aims to shed light on the enigmatic events that unfolded in the village of Røros in the year 1947. The quest to uncover the truth behind this legendary sighting involves meticulous examination and analysis of the area, along with interviewing eyewitnesses who have been passed down the story of what happened. The village's mayor during that period asserted witnessing a mysterious object descending and hitting Lake Djupsjön. According to photographer Ru Rostad, the mayor described it as resembling a rocket and emitting a considerable amount of noise. Ru Rostad further recollected that this unidentified craft abruptly changed its course and smoothly landed in the lake. This intriguing incident was documented by Coast to Coast AM. It is worth noting that witnesses like Ru Rostad played a crucial role in providing detailed and first-hand accounts of the event. The mayor's vivid description and Ru Rostad's recollection shed light on the surreal nature of what happened. The search for the elusive craft has been futile up to this point, but a breakthrough has occurred with the utilization of advanced sonar search technology, leading to a fascinating revelation. Despite prior unsuccessful efforts to locate the presumed vessel, recent advancements in sonar scanning have unveiled an intriguing development. Rostad is leading the search efforts and has disclosed that advanced technology has identified an anomaly measuring 46 feet in length and 10 feet in width. The sonar imaging displayed in the video appears to hold potential for individuals seeking discoveries, yet despite extensive exploration by the deep dive team in the lake, no findings have been made as of yet. This discovery, under the guidance of Rostad, has sparked intrigue and anticipation among enthusiasts eager to unravel the mystery hidden beneath the water's surface. The detailed analysis and persistent search efforts to uncover the enigmatic anomaly reflect the team's unwavering commitment to discovering the truth behind what happened. In spite of the ongoing unresolved status of the situation, Arnulf Loken, a prominent Norwegian UFO researcher, expressed his enthusiasm regarding the search, characterizing it as exciting. According to Loken, this investigation represents a significant milestone in Norway's UFO exploration endeavors, being deemed as one of the most extensive operations in the history of the country dedicated to studying unidentified flying objects. Interestingly enough, this encounter reminded many of the Falcon Lake incident. Inarguably, a profoundly captivating and potentially one of the most reliable UFO sightings, not just in the year 1967, but conceivably throughout history, took place in the scenic landscapes of Canada. This extraordinary event was not only remarkable for its time, but has also left a lasting imprint on the annals of UFO encounters. The incident that took place on the 20th of May 1967, commonly known as the Michalak encounter, continues to be a topic of interest and investigation in present times. On that particular day, Stefan Michalak, a 51-year-old mechanic, was exploring the rugged and dense woodlands bordering Falcon Lake in pursuit of rare, valuable, or intriguing minerals. This expedition took place within the confines of Whiteshell Provincial Park in the Manitoba region of Canada, a significant distance of approximately 80 miles from his residence in Winnipeg. While engrossed in examining what he believed to be a piece of quartz crystal, a sudden uproar from the surrounding wildlife captured his attention. Gazing skyward, Stefan observed two luminous red oval-shaped entities through the canopy of trees, swiftly advancing towards him. Upon closer inspection, he noticed the unusual speed at which these objects were approaching, escalating the intrigue of the encounter. The unexpected convergence of wildlife commotion and the emergence of the enigmatic glowing shapes infused a sense of curiosity and mild apprehension within Stefan, prompting a mixed rush of emotions. The surreal nature of the sighting and the swift movement of the objects left him momentarily stunned, his mind contemplating the possible origins and intentions of these mysterious visitors. As he gazed ahead, observing the scene unfold before him, one of the objects descended gracefully, finally settling on a cluster of rugged rocks situated roughly 160 feet away from his vantage point. Simultaneously, the second object remained suspended above him at a distance of about 15 feet, seemingly in perfect equilibrium. Suddenly, without warning, it swiftly ascended into the sky, propelled by an unseen force, disappearing into the vast expanse above. In a secluded spot on the rocks, the mysterious object maintained its position, mirroring the stillness of Michalak, who was observant of the unfolding events. A sensation of intense warmth enveloped the air, creating an unusual ambience around him. The object underwent a remarkable transformation, a spectacle that captivated Michalak's attention as it cycled through a series of color changes. Initially crimson, then transitioning to a somber grey, before finally settling into a radiant hue resembling hot stainless steel embellished with a golden aura. In his later account, Michalak described the door of the craft as having a unique combination of being square yet with rounded edges, further detailing how a vibrant purple light emanated from within the mysterious object. Additionally, he vividly recounted experiencing waves of warm air enveloping him and the unmistakable scent of sulfur lingering in the air. The mention of the sulfur smell holds particular significance, as it is a common element noticed in various encounters of close extraterrestrial contact. This observation not only adds to the authenticity of his experience, but also aligns with recurring themes in similar reports of such encounters. As he approached the mysterious craft, a distinct buzzing noise, reminiscent of a rapid-running miniature electric motor, resonated in his ears. The closer he moved, the clearer the voices became, and he gradually discerned that they were indeed human, albeit with extremely high pitches. The atmosphere around the craft seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy, intensifying his curiosity. As he inched closer, the voices grew in clarity, eventually revealing their human quality, albeit significantly high-pitched. Initially crimson, then transitioning to a somber grey, before finally settling into a radiant hue resembling hot stainless steel embellished with a golden aura. In his later account, Michalak described the door of the craft as having a unique combination of being square yet with rounded edges, further detailing how a vibrant purple light emanated from within the mysterious object. Additionally, he vividly recounted experiencing waves of warm air enveloping him and the unmistakable scent of sulfur lingering in the air. The mention of the sulfur smell holds particular significance, as it is a common element noticed in various encounters of close extraterrestrial contact. This observation not only adds to the authenticity of his experience, but also aligns with recurring themes in similar reports of such encounters. As he approached the mysterious craft, a distinct buzzing noise, reminiscent of a rapid-running miniature electric motor, resonated in his ears. The closer he moved, the clearer the voices became, and he gradually discerned that they were indeed human, albeit with extremely high pitches. The atmosphere around the craft seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy, intensifying his curiosity. As he inched closer, the voices grew in clarity, eventually revealing their human quality, albeit significantly high-pitched. In a bid to establish communication, he vocalized in a variety of languages, spanning from English and Russian to French, Italian, and Ukrainian. However, his calls remained unanswered. Drawing nearer to the enigmatic vessel, he found himself in such proximity that he could almost feel its surface. Equipping himself with the protective eyewear typically utilized for chiseling rocks, he resolved to peer inside the craft. With a deep breath, he cautiously extended his head through the entrance, intrigued by what lay beyond. The mysterious allure of the alien structure beckoned him, stirring a mix of apprehension and curiosity within him. In the midst of his surroundings, a complex network of vibrant lights awaited him, some flickering incessantly. Among them were straight beams traversing both horizontal and diagonal paths. As he observed, the lights seemed to lack any discernible arrangement or order, operating in what he perceived as a haphazard manner. Shifting his focus downward, he scrutinized the floor, detecting a seamless surface without any visible seams or connections to the overhead walls. This peculiar lack of distinct boundaries is a recurring detail often noted in numerous encounters involving unidentified flying objects. The spacecraft's tilting movement resulted in one of its machines coming into contact with the man's chest, causing him to experience an immediate and intense searing pain across his torso. What alarmed him even more was the fact that his glove had partially melted from his hand, and his shirt had caught fire. In response, he quickly moved away from the craft, shedding the burning shirt in the process. At that moment, he also observed that the craft had lifted slightly off the ground. Suddenly, a rush of hot air enveloped him, and just as swiftly as it had appeared, the object ascended rapidly into the sky. This series of events left him with a mixture of physical discomfort and awe at the disappearing craft. Upon reflection, Makalak paused to compose himself, his mind clouded with bewilderment and searing agony as he gradually made his way towards his parked vehicle, situated along the highway. His destination was Misericordia Hospital, where he sought treatment for the severe burns that plagued his chest. After seeking medical assistance, he proceeded to inform the Royal Canadian Mounted Police about the incident, although their response was limited to compiling a basic report, offering minimal assistance in addressing the situation. Upon the emergence of the incident in the local media and radio broadcasts, a plethora of UFO investigators were swiftly drawn to the scene, driven by a keen interest to engage with Michalak and delve deeper into the mysterious occurrence. Notably, Michalak bore a peculiar checkered burn mark on his chest, suspected to have been sustained during his contact with the machinery inside the unidentified object. In the aftermath, he grappled with severe illness for an extended period, marked by persistent bouts of intense nausea and the struggle to retain any form of sustenance. Furthermore, several weeks later, Michalak began to manifest distressing symptoms, including painful blisters on his torso and an unusual rash that traced a distinct V-shaped pattern from his ears down to his chest. The lingering effects of the encounter continued to afflict Michalak long after the initial incident, portraying a complex and enduring narrative of his ordeal. Throughout the next several weeks, despite experiencing a return to normal health overall, the individual continued to face intermittent health setbacks. A notable incident occurred in September of 1967, when he once again sought medical attention due to the emergence of peculiar, sizable spots on his torso. Additionally, he reported experiencing a pronounced sensation of heat and discomfort around his neck and chest region. These symptoms were accompanied by sporadic instances of lightheadedness and significant swelling in the joints of his hands. This ongoing struggle with health issues highlighted the complexity and unpredictability of his condition during this period. Despite temporary periods of improvement, the individual faced persistent challenges and fluctuations in his well-being, underscoring the need for continued monitoring and care.